was excellent for Japan to misstep in 2000, at that period. But now they're all together in unity, in harmony. And if you think I'm lying, look on your thing. China and Japan is singing Kumbaya right this minute in harmony. And then their overflow is going to Vietnam, although Vietnam, you got to slap them every now and then. All the Americans was there, and they said, oh, we're happy for America. Yeah, well, you better straighten up because the Belt and Road is going through your joint. You want to get on? Yes. So the Belt and Road is kicking in all over. You ought to see what the Chinese have done. They got people studying Chinese in Iran, in Arab countries, in everything. They're going overboard. But don't worry about that for now. We'll get back and tell them to be good later. Right now, just keep on rolling. And they might even have a policy of not overdoing it with newlyweds. For instance, of course, Malaysia, was that Malaysia? It was Malaysia, Indonesia. They renegotiated their contract with China on that Swift railroad, things. Other people, Kenya, got a big deal with them, and other people are renegotiating. And China is getting a little sense like you guys kind of stay in China, because if you come over here and got all the Chinese connections, you're going to own all the stores and shops in Africa, right? And you're going to suck all of our money out. So you have to voluntarily. And I know we got good weather over here all year round, and all we can grow anything we want. And you Chinese are so efficient in farming, and even more than the British and the French was. So they're renegotiating everything. And remember, when everybody is under pressure, they get together. When they need it, we got to get together. So China has to get together with other people. It can't come in, I'm the big boss Chinaman, right? Not right now. So he got to get rid of boss man, right? He has to fight boss man. Fight boss man coming after him, right? He coming after him. Boss man already knocked the Russians out. Well, you can't be knocking people out and then making fun of them. As big as Russia is, 6, 8, maybe 9 time zones, and got half of the resources in the world is still in Russia untapped. Okay, the point is, all the things that we have been talking about all over the years are present now. Now, where do we come in? We come in that we have to, we don't have to tell nobody all of this. They already know. Every intelligence network in the world know. If you can remember years ago, Deutsche Welle from Germany might be here with cameras. That was a time when they was all trying to soup us over here, soup us over there. So every so often it was cameras here. The Russians were here. Everybody was here. Was that Japanese? Japanese was here. Everybody was here. Everybody, literally everybody was here. Okay, at a certain time. So everybody know basically who we are. And they're not absent-minded in the attitude we have and what makes a good ally. See, all of them would say, hey, we would love to have some people that we could count on. If they say they're going to do something, we're 99% certain they're going to do that. Why? Because that's what they've always done. You see what I mean? That's why sticking to your stuff and holding on is not just that this is what we're about. No, it's what history is about. And a cycle of history is a cycle. If you hold out during the tough times, it's going to come around. It's going to come around. That's what's happening now. Okay. So this surprise unity is a surprise to everybody else, but it's not a surprise to the Negro. It's just not a surprise. Why is it not a surprise? Because we've been sitting here talking it all along. With the same attitude, with the same forecasting ability, right? And everybody that we have focused on, they've had their period of challenge. So the Arabs, the richest Arabs in the world, slaughtering the poorest Arabs in the world, and they're at the end of that road. Let's say you spend all that money, you use all those bombs, and you starved and murdered all of those people. And we're still here. This is the Yemenis. Can you imagine? And they're still there. They are still there. Okay? Now imagine you got to look at us. And you got to look at the world is not absent-minded. The proof of it is Dr. Khalil Siddiqui, who was the head of the movement at that time, right? If you read any of his books and everything, Dr. Khalil Siddiqui, hey, was the big shot. He was the head of our struggle. He was the head of our movement, the ideological person, and you can see what he said about me personally. This is 96. And if you look at South Africa and you look at us from 96, they almost closed the door. They moved toward closing the door right away. Since it was already out, they had to bring me back a few times. But they'd start rerouting out in the woods, away from the main population centers. I saw it right away. So if Muhammad Al-Asi and I went there together, they would route him through the special shots and reroute me to the countryside. The only thing is, the countryside was a place to be, because that countryside had all the immigrant Muslims, you know, from Malawi and all of that, and they had the schools. They was keeping me away from all they main folks, except a few. The booklet you saw had us all in their spots. But at the same time, we was picking up friends and fans all over South Africa, because they were sending us off the main line, off the beaten track. And that's why you would see at a Muslim girls' schools, everybody wearing hijab and all of that. Not one of them was Muslims. It was a Muslim school. That was the rule. They're all African. When I came back, I told, well, first of all, before I left, I told the brother, I said, well, I think we're going to adopt this school, Avondale or something. I said, and I'm going to go and I'm going to ask my daughters if they want it. Their daughters were the same age, my daughter is the same age as them, about, you know. So you want to adopt a school over there, and we raised so many, you know, so they said, yeah. I said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to raise a certain amount of money. First of all, I looked at the girls, their shoes and their clothes and everything. I said, we're just going to raise $10,000. It's 250 children. And we're going to divide that amongst them, and we're going to take them on a shopping spree. Not for books or none of that. And It's a girls' school for things that will boost their self-esteem, which is new shoes, new outfit. And what's the names? They got panicked. They was mad. The big rich families, they was mad. You ain't seen me go back. You ain't seen me back. I ain't been back. I ain't been asked to go back. Because that's exactly what I was gonna do. But when the word got around, that means that those rich people and all the good that they're doing, they don't want no nigger to share in it. They don't want nobody to see other black people helping them. And I said, that's y'all's problem, man. Because I went to Polokwane, that used to be Petersburg. And some of my friends that are good brothers, they was looking at how I was looking at the Africans they was bringing to Islam. And they was bringing them just to charity, and the guys was hungry, you know. So they would put on anything just to, you know. So one of the guys, they're good friends of mine. They looked at me, they looked at them, and they said, there's a lot of potential here. I said, yeah, but you know, the way they was doing it, they realized when you're face to face with it, you realize and they realize that they're not doing it right. They're not trying to make them independent, right? They're not making them independent. They're just giving them a little food, a little fatiha if they can pick it up, and rituals, and not independence. And when they saw that this is where we was headed, I haven't been back. When Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui said what he said, that's what started. But when they feel that you're going to focus in, the point is this, dear believers. We just happen to have something close to the right call during the period that we're here, during the period that we're alive, and during the period that we're active. And it's not to say, well, we're just happy that we've been right, but it's better to be right than wrong. Okay, if you look at the whole of America, if you look at the trips to Europe, all the stuff closed, all the stuff started closing in. I used to go to London all the time and everywhere all the time. Even trips to Iran. My old passports got stacked up with trips overseas. But you go back 15 years ago, they started easing away. And I know it, when I would go to Tehran, they started keeping me out and, you know, almost not a hostage, because I had a few friends there. They said, when are you going to come to see us? They didn't want us to go see nobody. They wanted to suck everything out. And it even got so serious, because when you're a translator and you translate a long time, it starts hurting your head because you're thinking. So one of the teachers of English, he was reading the articles. He said, did you write this stuff? Did you write this stuff? I said, of course. I said, of course. We're in a class, and first they're gonna suck all of the stuff out of my brain, and then they're gonna teach me. So when they start teaching me, the brother that was there translating, this is their managers, and he said he knows all of that. He said, you got this pyramid stuff up there? I said, you got all of that done. You know, but he said, you know, he said he didn't mean that. He meant something else, and you didn't understand what he meant. He said, you guys, the managers, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to share with them, and they're going to share with us. He said he already In fact, he would see notes. He would say, because I got notes for them. Because, I'm studying them all the time. That's what that big article was about. It has an outline of what I'm saying to them, what they should do for the next few years. And hey, I ain't been back since. And it's right, it's on the front page of the newspaper. Okay, the point I'm making, it doesn't make no difference what it is. If it's what the Negro has been running around Zayd and Siraj and them and jumping up and down, they have not been right at all about nothing. Yes, excuse me. They have been technically correct about Dawa and all of that, but they politically is stripped of any political value. It has no value. It has no context of how to use that. Okay. What I'm saying right now is this is a good time. And how everything happens for us, we already know the effect we're having. So when China recognizes their ally, they'll come right around and send somebody around. When they have a new election, you don't have to worry. Everybody that'll win is our every group that might win is our home folks. That's the way it is. The ones that won last time used to be our home folks, but they are bootlickers. They kissed the white man's behind. One of them could run for president over here, and at that time, they'd have let him win, because he would have been more American than them. Right? It's clear. It's clear. The world they set up is crumbling. And the world that we have resisted is coming. And the world we've been pushing is on the way. And it doesn't make a difference like the little details don't make a whole lot of difference. The main points that we've been standing on are absolutely but they're very correct. A high state of correctness is happening. Okay. So what we want to do is what we've always said. We want to play a part, and a good part, in the continuity of development of the human family. What we mean is we want to do good for everybody we come in contact with, including boss man. Yeah, we don't want him to bust his head wide open and he just fall down dead, because he'll fall on a lot of Negroes, a lot of Mexicans, and everybody. So, but we ain't gonna chase him down to say we want to help you and do good. No, if he ain't got enough sense to know by now where we're coming from, then he can go to wherever they go, wherever he's probably headed anyway. In other words, him and his allies, and that means us too, because see, we have a serious, it's moving at a time when it's not just decisions I make, it's decisions now everybody makes. See, because technically everybody is responsible for the decision that they make about themselves, about their family, and about the future. And we don't want to get stuck in a historical, semi-prophetic clamp where the people are being exposed to what's good and what's right, and they reject it so much that, the people say, hey, man, anyway. So what we have here, God has discombobulated basically the white nations and the stooges. Okay. I have a little note, when the Chinese realize we're here, how we're here, and have been here all the time. And we have something that they were familiar with. We have our own long march. See, their long march is what taught them what they had. It was, every year they go through the long march. They have people all over walking around like this. The long march started at one time, part of China, and it went to another, and it was 7,200 li, as they call it, actually about 6,000 miles. In other words, they fought a battle, a pitched battle, defense, evade, survive, evade, and escape for 6,000 miles. So that means that you're fighting on horseback and on foot. You know, people that had airplanes and everything, to California and back. And you're going through the same type of terrain. You got to go over to the Rockies eventually if you go to California, right? You got to go through the doggone desert before you get there. So you're going to freeze to death and lose a zillion people, and you're going to burn up from exhaustion. And you're going to go through swamp where horses can get sucked in to that, and you make it. That's what's been going on here all the time. The Negroes here have been so Negroid that it's unbelievable. I mean, it's just unbelievable, the colored behavior. But we are not, and we never, hopefully never will, allow their behavior or the Negro behavior to affect us. Because actually, technically we got it good. I mean, you know, like we could have it could be like Imam Jamil or any, if that's what was happening with us, we would swim right through it. But we're not going blind, and the people may beat us upside the head and do all of that, but that's part of, we've encouraged that. They're not doing a surprise. All of that we've encouraged.